Justinas Rakešius antroji vieta.
Hello. Today I want to share you my, it was my dream car. Now I have it for quite a while, and I want to share the story of it because it sums up the whole story of myself, of performance and everything else. I saw that you had lots of interest when I talked about workshop, how I started it, why I started it, and etc. So this car is also part of the story because with it, lots of things started. My performance knowledge increased started with it, and everything else, knowledge about the salvage cars and etc. But before I started to talk about this project, don't forget to press that subscribe button, thumbs up button, so you won't miss any more content and new projects. So, how I got this car and when I got it, it was 5 years ago or something. I don't remember, really. It was quite a while, but this car was bought from USA. This was salvage car. It was bought from auction. It had damage to the front end. This is where you can see the photo, how it looked like before and how it looked like when I finished it. Because right now you can see that it's again without the front end because we are working on it. I'm lying. This car was standing for a while, maybe for a year or something. We are not doing on it right now anything, but this is why it's inside again, because we are starting to do some things on it and we are starting to work on it again to finish up because it has quite a story. But we will get back to that soon. Let's continue with the salvage part. So it was hit to the front end. From the damage, I suspect it was hit to the wall or something. The damage was like in the center, but not too many parts were damaged, and the headlights not damaged at all. I guess it was this kind of accident. What was broken was intercooler, or I should say charge cooler. Also the intake manifold, engine wiring. We had to remove all these parts to replace them in order to start the car. Because without all these parts, we were unable. Without throttle body, car would go crazy and maybe even won't start. So I repaired it, gathered all the parts. It took me 4 or 3 months to fix it. It was quite fast, but this is BMW. It's quite easy to gather the parts, to get all the stuff, especially in Europe, because it's made in Europe. While, for example, with BRZ, we're still waiting for the parts. You can see it's waiting there for its moment, but we are going to finish it also. Then I finished the car. To repair it, I registered it, I used it for, few weeks, and I decided to Apollo is trying to play the slice while he is filming, so Apollo, come over here. Let him film. What are you doing? Come over here. So I used the car for a few weeks, and I decided to tune it to have stage 2 because I saw that there were lots of potential for this engine. I saw performance gains others getting with such engine, and I wanted to have that also. I had already 2 cars that were tuned, and one of them was with stage 1. That was my BMW E61 with touring 3-liter diesel, and another one was my first car. Maybe someday I will tell you about it. I still got it. I still got my first car. I'm thinking what to do with it, but I went crazy with it. It was stage 3, I believe, because it had hybrid turbo, and I was doing crazy stuff with it, but not so crazy what I did with this car. So yeah, I tuned the car. We gained something like 580 horsepower, so it was quite fast, and it was sure faster than my cars that I had before. So yeah, it was fun. I had lots of fun with it, but at some point I started to look around the drag racing scene about what kind of cars there are, what kind of performance gains we have, how much horsepower we have, and etc. So I became interested into that because my car was quite fast but I wanted, to compete and to join with drag racing. So I decided to move forward. I was looking for completely new turbos, and there was no out-of-the-box solution. There was pure turbos, but they were like, pure turbos is good in USA, but it's quite hard to get here in Europe. And I believed that it's better to get ball bearing turbos rather than simple ones, journal bearing, so we spool faster and etc. So we have better gains, and turbos are gonna spool faster, and you're gonna have a cure much better rather than waiting for turbo to spool. So I started to look around, and I didn't find anything. And we can take a look under the hood what I got.
Pop the hood.
Pop the hood. Okay. So wait a minute. These turbos looks completely standard. Yeah, it is, because I have hybrid turbos that I managed to get. I mean, I had the idea what kind of turbos I want, but I didn't want to go crazy. So I decided to use Garrett GTX 3076 cartridges. These are ball bearing cartridges, really good ones, and the guys from Belarus built the turbos for me, because no one wanted to do such job, because it was, unique project turbos, so there are no commercial gains for anyone doing something unique or one of a kind. So yeah, that's why I went this route, and it was quite hard, because turbos looks original, looks like OEM, but lots of things were changed. The routing of the pipes were changed, the cartridges are bigger, so the cold parts moved a little bit to the front. It's not significant, but still, there are changes like these. And yeah, I received the turbos, we installed them, we had to fabricate some parts in order to get them working, to get the oil feed and everything. With that, I also installed BMW M5 competition exhaust, so I have a bigger diameter of the exhaust. It will be easier for turbos to spool, to get the exhaust fumes out and spool faster. And after installing the turbos and the exhaust, we got the car onto the dyno and measured the power. So it was 640 horsepower without any engine tune, just with the turbos installed and the exhaust. So it was significant gain out of nowhere. Also, guys, it's not the final number. Guess, what's the final number? What's the power the engine made the last time before we took it apart? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we will send you some sticker or something in case you're going to guess correctly. Or if you want to get some stickers, just drop us a message to Instagram. Okay, so let's continue with turbos and all the dyno and everything else. When we measured the power, the car was still using stock... Sorry, Apollo making a noises. Excuse me, mister. Oh, yeah, he's having a lunch. Sorry for interrupting. Have a good time. Okay, let's continue. So, car was using stock map sensors, which are for 2.5 bar, and it was not able to see anything higher than that. And we believe that car was producing more boost than it was seeing. That's why it gained something like that. Also, by measuring the power, a car went to limp mode. It means that it reduced power and it started to save itself from blowing up. So we are lucky. We are lucky that we didn't blow the engine because we didn't know what kind of boost pressure we have in the car. We just saw the maximum value of the sensors that we're able to show and we're able to see. So after that, we replaced the sensors. We started to tune the car. And we were still having troubles with it. It was reducing power. It was going to limp mode. It was not going according to plan. And HC Performance was trying to find all kind of different options of the tune. Also, we contacted Madness Motorsports. So we contacted lots of tuners, and we were trying to find what's wrong, what's happening. And I didn't have lots of experience during that time, and I trusted everyone that, guys, you know better than me, and let's do everything what you say. I received two main things. The intake temperature is too high and fuel is too bad. Okay, so what we can do? Let's install cold air intake. So fabricated cold air intake, there was no changes at all, like zero. Okay, what we can do? Maybe there are not enough water in the charge coolers and the radiator, because it's not like standard setup with front-end intercooler. No, it's water-cooled charge coolers. And we were like, let's increase the amount of water. Let's use additional plastic container with more water, and let's see, maybe water will be able to cool down much more. We saw no differences at all. What to do next? I was like, maybe charge coolers are too small. Maybe we should change them. Again, I bought new charge coolers from BMW M5, and we saw that they are completely different, like completely different. And there's no way to make them work. And we had the drag racing season scheduled, and we had to catch up with that somehow. We were working every day and night, just try to solve what's happening with the car, and there was no luck. So we were like, okay, let's try to use M5 charge coolers, but it's not gonna be easy. M5 charge coolers were completely different. We had to cut them off, rebuild them. Also, we wanted to use intake manifolds of M5. I bought them also. I put them on the car, and we had another issue with the steering linkage because we were bigger, so it was real disaster. But somehow we managed to do it. We modified the charge coolers, not these ones, but the ones you can see right now in the photo. Also, we built completely new coolant system because the pipes and everything were completely in different positions, and we had to change that. Okay, we solved this problem because when we started the car, when we did some logging, we checked the intake air temperatures, and we were dropped significantly, like 60 or 70%. So it was huge gains, it was great, but we still had some problems. We still saw that at some point something goes wrong. Okay, problems with the fuel. What we're gonna do? Let's mix it with ethanol. We used E30 mix. It means that we used 30% of ethanol and 70% of petrol. No more knocking, no more super knocks. Everything goes completely fine. Car is super fast, super crazy. And I went for last and biggest drag event of the year in Lithuania. It was 1,006 kilometer race event, and we had like drag event inside of the whole huge event, racing event. I went there, car was going like crazy, but we still didn't have any transmission tune because XHP was not released at that time. No one was able to lift the limits of the transmission, I mean the torque limits, because it was limiting at the third gear, I think for something like 300 or 400 Newton meters. So I felt that at third gear I have almost no pull compared to other gears. So I went with that setup and still managed to take the second place in my class. I almost took the first place. When I received the logs with speeds and everything, I saw that I was gaining as soon as I hit the fourth gear. I was pulling really good, but it was that shorter format drag race, not quarter mile, but 1/8 of a mile. So yeah, that's why I lost to the guy. I'm happy for him and went back home. Proud what we did. It still was not 100% cool, but I was happy. I was happy that car is finally going like crazy, but still I didn't like what we did because we were cutting corners, doing all kind of shortcuts just in order to get to the event, and we were walking every night and etc. So there was a huge mess. Also, I decided to take a look into the logs. From background, I'm software engineer, system engineer, and etc. All my life I was looking into consoles, PCs, looking what's wrong, trying to figure out what's happening and etc. So it was quite easy for me. I just opened the logs, I checked the graphs, and I saw something strange. The thing is that when I was pushing the pedal to the metal, it means 100%, I saw that throttle body opens to 100%, then closes at some point to 30%, and then opens up to 100% again. And I was like, why? Why was happening? Why car is suddenly closing throttle body to prevent it from gaining? And that looked really strange for me. And because of that, I decided to contact Kevin from Go Labworks to help me a little bit to, I don't know, take another look, because other tuners were looking already multiple times into the logs, everything. So I believe that sometimes it's better to give just quick look for other person, and maybe we will see something different that it was in front of your nose and you were struggling and stuck in the loop and you were not able to see it at all. So I sent it to him. He was like, okay, look, here's the engine tune by me, write it, do some logs and send it to me. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I wrote it to the car, I did some tests, car went to limp mode again, power was reduced again, and I was like, hey man, something is really wrong, car again gets to limp mode, it reduces power, please take a look. I sent the logs and he was like, hey, take a look at your wastegate and your throttle body. Wastegate is closed only 15% and your throttle body closes in order to prevent the boost. It means that all exhaust fumes should go out to the exhaust rather than spinning the turbo. And I was like, okay, what that means? He said, like, try to check the turbo actuators that are hidden over there, how they are working, how they closing. There's a specific amount of vacuum that they should close 100% at. And I checked, they closed at 15% vacuum. So it means that they were closed all the time. My turbos were spinning like crazy. And only way to prevent engine from blowing up was to close the throttle bodies and prevent it from getting more air into the intake manifold. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. I should take a look into this. I was trying to get new turbo actuators, some aftermarket ones and etc. Nothing worked. I was still getting the same result. Then I measured the distance for stock turbos and these turbos, and I saw that the actuators are a little bit away. That's why we're closing wastegates much faster than we should. Okay, what we can do? We can extend the rod, or we can try to get new actuators that requires more vacuum to close. So I did both. I got new actuators that requires more vacuum to close, so I have more adjustability from that point of view, and also I have longer rod, so I can adjust wastegates as much as I want. With that, car was standing. Why it was standing? We decided to do all this stuff, like I mentioned before, during the nights in order to finish up drag season. When drag racing season was finished, I decided to clean up the engine, do all kind of cleanup. I did some research and found out that X5M was using same intake manifolds as my stock car. And I was like, okay, these cars, I know, are going like crazy. You can get real performance gains from it. So intake manifold shouldn't be a problem. But maybe I could use charge coolers from X5M rather than from M5. I got these coolers, tried to put them on, and saw that the top parts over here are completely different. They were going this way rather than more to the sides. So I had to change the tops of the charge coolers. And this time I decided, hey, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to build stuff just during the night and as soon as possible. I don't care how that looks and etc, etc. No, this time I want to go 100% and make everything clean. It means that I am going to do some modeling, fabrication and so on. It was first time for me that I built something using 3D modeling. I found one guy, he's not working with us right now because he's a really busy guy, and he was really busy during that time that I needed to build these parts, but I asked him through my another friend that, hey man, maybe you could help me to build these parts, and he was like, okay, let's do it. We built 3D models, we 3D printed it. This is version 4 or 5, I believe, the final ones that we printed. Then we saw that everything is all right. We knew that we can build it from something else. We wanted to 3D print it, but there are no 3D printed plastic that could withstand the heat. The manufacturer specification says that charge coolers have to work with something around 250 degrees Celsius to be able to withstand that, and the maximum temperature from 3D printed plastic was 120 or something. So no way. Then we decided to use CNC. As you can see, the shapes of the parts are quite strange and quite hard to get via CNC, because it's really hard to get inside over there because it's quite long and etc. So we decided, we talked with one manufacturer to split it into half over here and also here. So we have like one part, 2 parts over here, and 1 part over here. So 4 parts in total. The same here. I was working for this project with the charge cooler tops more than a year. It took really too long. And at some point I was thinking, fuck it. I'm going to take out everything, put everything to stock and enjoy my car. But I love to finish what I started. So at some point I received these parts, welded, anodized from aluminum. I was like, nice, they look quite okay. There are some places that could be better, but at least it should work. And then I put them on the table and I saw that it's completely bent. It's not gonna seal at all. This corner, that corner, any of the corners were bent, and it was not possible to use them. And I was like, really? I contacted manufacturer, we were not from Lithuania, and I said like, hey, look, this is defect. You warp it during the welding. What we're gonna do? Because the measurements are really specific and everything is tight, so we are not able to grind it, change it, and etc. Because warping was like 5 millimeters or something. That's a lot. They started to ignore me. Yeah, they started to ignore me. They didn't respond to my calls, to WhatsApp, to emails, anything. So I claimed to my bank and I said that I received wrongly manufactured parts with defects, and they're ignoring me. They're not changing them, they're not responding anything. And my bank said like, okay, we will try to contact them. If they are not responding to us also, we are going to charge back money for you, and that's it. After 2 weeks I got the charge back, and I didn't hear anything from them anymore. They didn't write me anything about the chargeback, anything. So we were like, what to do next? CNC again? Warping again? It's gonna be a problem. So we decided to go even more expensive way with the current setup. It's 3D printed aluminum. These 2 top parts are completely 3D printed from aluminum. I didn't test it yet. I mean, car runs, we can start it and etc. But I never drove it. Car with completed tops, waiting here for like a year or something because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to finish the intake, because the intake from the turbos have to be custom built, because I don't want to use the stock one, because the stock goes filters over here and it heats all the time. So that's bad. But during that time that I was waiting for the tops and etc., I also installed a metal injection. You can see the injectors over here, also the splitter here, valve over here that is being controlled by the main controller. Let's take a look how that looks. So, oh, I still have my number from drag racing, and I took 55 for all season because of 550. And here we have the main controller from Aquamist. It's a really simple one. I installed everything by myself, no problem at all. It's also never tested yet. I didn't have time. I never drove this car after installing all these parts on the road. Never. I don't know even how that runs. Also, they have the tank for methanol water mix. It's made by Burger Tuning, Burger Motorsports. So we brought that from USA in order to have everything cleaner rather than putting that into the trunk. The last piece of the methanol injection is this one. So we have like a controller over here, which shows the flow, which shows that if you go out of water or methanol and if injection works or not. You have 3 screws that you can adjust without taking out the controller, so you can do that simple way. Also, it's just laying here right now, but we are going to make some kind of 3D stand or something for it, so it won't mess around over there. During that time, while I was waiting for the parts, for the top parts of the charge coolers, something bad happened with the car. The car was standing outside for a really long time, and thieves saw that car that's standing. It was in closed territory, but behind the cameras and etc. But it was still standing a lot. At some point, another big car was parked next to my car. It covered my car, and they stole the steering wheel, the dashboard, the headlights. I'm happy that I had insurance. Everything was covered. This steering wheel right now is just the dummy one in order to steer the car while we moving it around the workshop or something, and it's not used, you know, for driving. Also, we got the new dashboard and new headlights. As you can see, with simple daily driven car, you can start your tuning performance journey. I forgot to ask you guys, what do you think? How much power we're gonna have with the current setup? I mean, with new charge coolers, with water methanol injection and turbo actuators. So it means that we can make it work as it should, rather than reducing power, rather than entering into safety modes and so on. So yeah. And if you guess it before, how much power the car had, the correct answer is 670 horsepower. I was reaching for 700, but I hope we're gonna reach that or even more with the current setup. With all these things, you can see how I started my performance journey, how I started getting to know about the cars, about tuning the engine, tuning the engine control modules, and reading logs, and how much you can find out by yourself just by digging, by reading, by asking. Don't hesitate to ask. It's always better to share, to talk with the community, to ask for help. You know, if I wouldn't be me, I would be still looking what's happening and never asked Kevin from GoLabWorks to take a look and get the answer that hey, this might be your problem. Take a look into this. Yeah, I really want to encourage you to share your opinions, ask in our YouTube comments. If you have some kind of project car and you're thinking about something, just drop a comment over there, and us or maybe someone else will answer to that comment, and you can get different kind of knowledge. For today, I believe it's pretty much it. This is what I want to share with you. My dream car, I was dreaming about it 8 years ago, and I was like thinking, oh, one day I'm going to buy BMW 550, and after 2 years or something I bought it. So don't stop dreaming, because when you dream about something, when you move yourself into that position, that you're moving forward, that your dream, you're gonna reach it, rather than just say, hey, I'm never gonna have this, or oh, that would be great if I could have this, but I'm not going to achieve that. No, you just dream that one day I'm gonna do that, one day I'm gonna achieve that, one day I'm gonna have that, what I want, and you're gonna reach that. Just don't forget to work hard and dream hard. So, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to press thumbs up button, don't forget to press that push notification button, and see you next time.